All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being so many today. It really reminds me of when I was in a band in high school. So thank you for that. And also, congrats for making it through the line. That was like unbelievable. So it's already like a big victory for you today. And there's going to be more fun stuff that I'm going to show you. The presentation may not have a ton of science, but it's going to have a lot of videos that are really fun. I introduce myself. My name is Stef. I'm a Roblox. I'm the head of Roblox Studio, the tool that our creators use to make those beautiful experiences. And my street credits is that I'm the founder of Mixamo, in case you ever use it. And we're going to start with a little refresher on the latest games and experiences on Roblox. And then we're going to go from there. Right, as you have seen, the platform has evolved over the years, and now the content is getting better and better. We have now 67 million daily active users. There's more than 60,000 experiences and games submitted to the platform every day. So it's pretty incredible, but the thing that we are the most proud is how much of that we are sharing and how much is that is really coming from the creators. So we have now over 2.7 million creators earning Robux, and we distributed over $1 billion in the last 2 years to them. And the growth is pretty impressive, and we are really proud of that community that we are building. Roblox is really unique in the sense that we are so vertically integrated, and I think more and more developers and creators are realizing the uniqueness of that in the sense that we are inherently scalable, multiplayer, safe, and social. And so those are all things that normally game developers have to fight for many, many years instead, or spend money, for services. Instead, all this you get out of the box. So I'm going to stop here with the plug, but I just wanted to really frame it because I think sometimes these are aspects that are a little bit not fully appreciated, I think, from people that are not part of the community because we are just getting the word out for that. And so let's get on the generative AI and how this is impacting game development, and this is why you guys are here. So what we have seen in the last couple of years is a massive influx of technology that is really tackling all areas of game development. The beauty of that is, unlike other areas, of AI, like for example, safe driving cars, there, if AI makes a mistake, has massive consequences, and so the industry may not progress at the speed that it could. For content creation, the bar is a little bit lower in the sense that we don't have these like catastrophic events that will happen. If a material that I created using, Stable Diffusion or DALL-E is not what I want, I just click the button and generate another one. And so I would say we have more freedom to make mistakes, to experiment, and we can move fast in some way. And then the other aspect is we are seeing all type of media really be on this amazing journey to generative AI. It goes from like code with the co-pilots and similar to audio with AI-generated music, sound effects. We're going to see today about materials, more in details, images, of course, Mid-Journey, Stable Diffusion, DALL-E, all those. And the beauty of game development is actually all those together is what really like makes a game. And so we have an advancement in pretty much every type of asset that really makes a game what it is. And so today we're going to focus on two specifically. The first one is around coding. And so we have seen like new generations of AI for coding really like provide amazing results, even like the baseline before they get fine-tuned. Some of them were released in the last few weeks. It's an industry that is really moving at the speed of weeks, not months anymore. And we have found also in our own experience that fine-tuning the AI model with code from the Roblox platform actually significantly increases the quality of the output. At the end, for AI, the thing that is really key is providing context. And so the more context we can provide, the better it will perform, of course. And so fine-tuning is a way to do that. Pre-prompting is a way to do that. Also, another area that we have found being very useful, and I think will be very useful to you as game developers using AI, is being able in a very short turnaround to quantify how good or bad an AI solution is. And the best way to do that is just to build a testing harness. So if you have your 50 or 100 cases where you can run an automated test and that can tell you if your AI coding algorithm is better than the previous one you were using or not, that will be super valuable because there's going to be more and more of those solutions for content creation, for code creation out there. And the one thing that will stick it will be your automation testing harness that can basically, in minutes, hopefully, can tell you, hey, this new tech is fantastic, or hey, this is breaking 10 other things that were working before, and so you don't want to adopt that. And so my encouragement is to really invest in that because I think it's going to be something useful for the foreseeable future as we see more and more of those AI solutions coming online. And then in terms of the value that the users are getting, of course, code generation is the most obvious, but we have found that this is also extremely useful for having a better access to documentation. We have seen a lot of videos about people using ChatGPT to ask questions about functions and getting like full explanations. And so that helps also people understand the code. So it's not just, hey, let me generate more code, but actually people that are learning specifically can really leverage that. They can debug, and of course, they can learn, which is the ultimate goal for people that are still getting on board. And so as I said before, the success for this is really like the context. Imagine if you were like the most knowledgeable person on the planet, and you were going to take a test, and you enter a room that is completely white, and there's a professor there asking you, so what's your answer? But you didn't hear the question, and the room is completely white, you have no clue, you don't know what to respond, right? And so sometimes we expect from AI to give us an answer when like there's not enough context given to it. And we have seen that the effectiveness of it grows really exponentially with context. So we did a test this weekend, and we found basically if you were giving to AI just 3 lines of code versus none, the acceptance rate increases by 50% overall. So for all the people that were using the service. So it's pretty remarkable, but you may ask, like, but what service are you talking about? Do you guys have like AI running on Roblox? And the answer is, as of this morning at 9 o'clock, we released the beta of AI Code Assist. That's the name of the feature. And here I'm going to give you a quick sneak peek to that. So let's roll the video. So here we have some Luau script. Here I'm typing some comment. There's already 4 lines of code before, so AI has a sense for what's happening. And here I want my orb to change color and disappear, and then I want to create a grid of those. The video will loop, so you will have more time to catch what was written there. And then here I have my game in which my player is going and touching those orbs, and they change color, then they disappear. So a very simple example of what AI can do, but we are very proud of releasing this. You may find suspicious that we released exactly the day of this talk, but trust me, 4 months ago, it was completely unclear if we were able to do that. So I'm glad that actually worked out. And so this was the first thing that we released today as part of our generative AI journey. And I want to say, spend a couple of words to describe a little bit what this is for. Because we have been asked like a lot of questions over the weekend. Oops, sorry. Is this going to be like a chat bot that helps us like write code? Is it going to be just completing the code that we write? And so we found basically two main paths for this, for AI coding, for game development, and I would say for coding in general. The first one is, hey, I'm a coder, I have a lot of experience, I just want to be faster. This is a little bit the use case also of Microsoft Copilot. And so that's what we went for first. We want to make people that are coding every day just more productive. We don't want them to write, very simple routines all the time. We just want them to focus on the key stuff. And so this is like an accelerator for them. What we are also going to tackle is really the learning aspect. So it's going to be a different type of product that we're going to be rolling out, and it's going to be more like a chatbot style. We are still at the very beginning of the journey there in understanding what that should be, because the user experience of all those features is basically being invented, as we speak. The second announcement of the day is that we released this morning our AI material generator in Studio. You see here an example of it used in a game called Ghostopia by our developer Super Social. This is a game that is about building your haunted mansion. It's really cool, and you can see here how Super Social is using our material generator to create the material of the entrance of the mansion. Instead of being just an image generator, this actually is generating PBR materials. So you get a normal map, you get a reference map, and we are working towards getting also a metalness map that right now is more just of a black and white value. This again was rolled out in silent beta over the weekend. We already got a lot of enthusiasm. We understand how hard it is to craft sometimes these materials in Photoshop or Substance Painter, or how expensive they may be downloading them from websites. And so this tool is completely free, and then you can just type a few words, define the scaling of your tiles, and apply it to a material in Roblox, just like that. And then, as I said before, this is an example of a material with a light moving up and down. The prompt was pink lava, which is my favorite material ever. And you can see a normal map and reference map are being generated. For metalness, right now, we don't compute the map yet, but we ask you basically to select what is the underlying solid material for your image. And so based on that, we define the metalness value of that. But in the future, we hope we can also give a full map of metalness. And I think overall, this is again a journey. We're just at the beginning, so everybody's going to start with the basic 4 maps of PBR. But in the future, it will be amazing. If you generate a photo of a light, I want emissive and glow and all those maps. And so I think again, this is just the beginning. We would love to hear feedback from you on what is really the most difficult, painful thing, or more tedious thing to do, and then we will try to incorporate that as much as possible in this feature. In terms of how this will evolve over time, of course, we don't have the crystal ball, but having worked for several years on this, we can say that we are now really like a step one, where we are generating tileable materials that you can apply to a surface. But the next immediate step, and something that I think a lot of people in the world, including ourselves, are working on, is the ability to actually create something that is geometry specific, that you could use not just to create tiles for a surface, but you could use to retexture completely an object or a character. And so that is, of course, an even bigger time saver than just having like tileable materials. And it's something that, as I said before, we are working on. It's a very hard problem to crack, I have to say, because when you're generating this texture, it needs to be incredibly context aware of the geometry, but also potentially of a previous texture that you have on the character or the object. And so we have to understand where the eyes are, where the mouth is, and texture everything appropriately. But we have seen some early breakthrough, and we're confident that that will land at some point. I'm not going to commit on a roadmap here today, but and then the next step in the evolution of AI texturing will be when you can actually stylize all these objects, characters, surfaces with the style of your game. And so we are not there yet, but we are thinking that this is going to be the holy grail, where when you're making a game and you have just received a few drawings from your amazing concept artist, you already have in mind like the style that you want for your game, for all your assets. So what if you could train AI to generate a bunch of textures for geometry maybe that you already have sitting around, to generate a bunch of assets that are consistent with the style of the game? That would be amazing, because if you just texture one object at a time, there's no guarantee that that set will be cohesive, right? And so we know that's the final destination. That's where we want to get. And that's where I think is going to be the biggest value that AI can provide to you guys building games. Another phenomenon that we are also witnessing is what we call the convergence of media. So right now there's a bunch of like AI solution for materials, for code, as we have seen, for images since a few years ago. 3D scenes, 3D assets, a little bit harder. We're seeing a lot of efforts on that front, especially using Nerf. But all those ultimately, we believe, are going to kind of converge, where there will be one large language model that will unify the creation of code, materials, 3D models, all kinds of assets. And we see like some early signs of that. You can ask ChatGPT to model something. It will look very blocky, but at least the concept is there. It cannot create images yet, but I'm sure like there will be future iterations where those capabilities will be unlocked. And the reason why this makes sense is because by generating the code and the 3D model and the texture of the same asset, you're just gaining, again, more context. And so if AI has more context of what you're building, what your object should do, and how it looks like, you can get better recommendations on the code. And then if you know the behavior, that may influence how you model things and so on. So it makes sense, and this is how also us as humans work when we are inventing new things. We don't focus on just one type of craft, but we think about like the end-to-end user experience, and I think this is going to be following the same path. So that's very exciting. We are seeing some early breakthroughs, but I think a year from now, maybe we'll be here at GDC talking about that technology as opposed to hoping that it will be already around. Another big change that AI is bringing is actually in the tools themselves. You're going to see a lot of tools coming up with generative AI features, like in Roblox Studio. But ultimately, the whole user experience of those tools may change really dramatically. And the main reason is those tools were built for a very different type of flow between intent and creation, where you had to like face and go around so many technical constraints and learn so many tools and be able to manipulate at the pixel level and at the vertex level and at the code level. And then now, with generative AI, the thing that matters the most is actually being able to capture that intent. And so all the tools, all the digital tools that we have now in the industry today are designed to give you a lot of control. They're not designed to understand your intent. And so we believe that if you have tools that can capture that intent, with generative AI, they can actually craft exactly the asset that you want. And so a lot of the focus will shift from very fine-grained control to capturing intent from the user, again, to get that context that is so precious for AI. One more aspect that I think will change dramatically with generative AI is what our players will be able to do. Because again, creation has been in the hands of the few skilled for a very long time, but now again, with generative AI, we are democratizing that much further. And then people that before were blocked by technical hurdles, but they have like amazing ideas, now they can actually express the idea. And through Gen AI, they can actually make things happen. Okay, this example is a little bit extreme, and it's not something you can do today, but I don't think it's gonna be very far in the future either. And so we are very excited. Of course, the biggest challenge will be moderation. Because if all of a sudden people can create a lot more content, but if like 2 orders of magnitude more people can create more content, then we can expect several orders of magnitude more content on the platform that needs to be moderated. And for us, like safety is the #1 thing at Roblox. And so the thing that will need to change, I think, all over the world the most will be the moderation that was sometimes a little bit of an afterthought in game development, because the content was crafted by a small group of people that, you know, that we would trust. Now it's going to be very different. And so we have to think about ways of using AI to actually do real-time moderation on content that is generated at runtime by tens or hundreds of millions of players. And so I think that's going to be a big challenge, specifically for Roblox, that we are very excited to be tackling. So that you, as game developers, don't have to worry too much about it. Of course, you'll be deciding how much control and how much creative power you're going to give to your players, but we are basically here to help you along the way and to provide you the APIs and the tools that you will need to have that moderation be as safe and as effective as possible. And the last thing I want to say before we open up for questions is that we are always blown away by what the community actually comes up with. And they were bringing AI to players even before we had these 2 features out. And we were seeing like plugins in Studio where people were using ChatGPT to generate blocks and gameplay at runtime. And it was like very exciting for us being on the other side to see how smart and how creative the community can be in really creating stuff that is inspiring us. So as we are there, you know, in those long nights coding those features, I think this is really shining a lot of light, and it gives us like a great motivation and excitement to see that the community is really trying to piece those things together as we're trying to build them as well. All right, so that's all I have for today. Now we can open it up for questions. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Frank Carey. I'm curious on the Roblox platform, obviously it is multiplayer, so a lot of the social aspect brings those characters to life because other people are behind them. What do you see for like ChatGPT coming up with dialogue for characters in game that aren't backed by humans?
That's a great question. In fact, the last example that I showed exactly that, like a ChatGPT integration in game. I think the NPCs that we are used to versus the ones that will be available to us in the future are going to be like a very different class. I'm having like some very deep philosophical discussion with ChatGPT, and I can only imagine how that could be extremely engaging for a game. So I think that will be definitely one of the areas where we're going to see one of the biggest impact.
And just follow up, moderation of that, how do you feel?
At Roblox, we have chat moderation already, and we also have chat translation. So if you're playing this a game with someone in Japan, you guys can talk to each other. So I would say probably we are early in that sense, because we are already moderating like tens of millions of people talking to each other, but definitely will be an area of concern. Probably less of a concern than moderating real humans, I would say, because they have some early filters on the ChatGPT side. Thank you.
Hi. What is the copyright arrangement on these generated assets going to be?
Oh man, I knew this was coming, so I'm mildly prepared. So there is no difference between content that you will create and put in Studio, or that AI will generate it. They are treated exactly in the same way. It's not that like, oh, if you made a material in Photoshop, you own it, and then if you make it like in Roblox using AI material generator, you don't. They are treated exactly the same way. And also, like the moderation goes through the same pipe. So when you save it to use in a game, that's when we moderate it. So it's basically equally, it's an equal citizen, basically, of things that are created like the old way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I kind of have a follow-up question about that too, which is on the same line, which is this: like the U.S. Copyright Office in February did say that content that was generated without human interaction, even through prompts, doesn't count as copyrightable material. And so like I'm wondering what the future of Roblox looks like for developers when they have these games coming out that are fully AI generated with 3D assets with textures, when they can't copyright anything and they're making money off of it. So I'm curious what like the protections you'll have for future developers when they don't really have the legal teams to do that, and like what do you do for a small developer when they've made a 3D asset, it's not copyrightable, someone extracts it from Roblox, and then they make money off of it or something like that? Like, what's that future look like for Roblox?
That's a great question. Thank you. So a lot of the dust still has to settle in that area, right? So it's hard to know, like in 5 years, what the legal ramifications are going to be. I want to say that you mentioned like the word extract from. So right now, like the platform is safe, so random people cannot extract your IP for a game unless you publish that into the marketplace, right, for other people to use. And then in terms of like, when is it like, is the prompt going to be enough or not to say it's mine? Well, if the prompt is 1,000 lines of code, right, probably yes. If the prompt is a line, 2 words to generate a full like game level, right? It's a different story. So right now there's a lot of like gray areas, and the legal world has not really set where the boundary is, and it's going to be very hard to set that boundary.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for these tools. Thank you for Mixamo, and this talk absolutely delivered. Thank you, man. It was awesome. My question is about my name is Lex Streitzer. I'm a game developer, and I build on Roblox as well. My question is about the code assist. What is it trained on? How, when we type natural language in there, how does it know what that natural language will generate? And what is the future of that? Because it gives us like a really great, powerful tool, basically for free. Is that always going to be for free? And how do we, can we depend on it to be used forever, in perpetuity?
Those are great questions. Thank you. And it's hard to respond for things that are like very far in the future, but the tool is free and is trained on. We are using some marketplace scripts to train it, so it's not trained on like developers created code, not a single line of that. And at this point, we are still trying to understand how to fine tune it, right? Like there's a lot of parameters to tweak, and it's not designed for doing like a natural language to code. It's designed for like code completion, and so you always need to feed like lines of actual code to get the best results out. But as I said before, we realized there was like a bifurcation in the persona. And so now we are focusing primarily on developers and making them more productive. But then down the road, we're going to look more like natural language to scripting. And if we can really bridge the gap for people that don't know how to code.
It's beautiful. Outstanding. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi there. Given the tools that we currently have for generating things like natural language in ChatGPT or Copilot for Code or image generators, what do you think is a reasonable time span for the unified large model that you mentioned earlier for like in a complete game experience? What do you think is a reasonable time span to expect that?
It will
if at
be
all?
a complete total guess. And then you can record it, and then in 10 years you can tell me, dude, you said next year. Like, it will feel like nuclear fusion, so I would say 2 years.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for your optimism.
Hi.
Last question.
I was just wondering how using other creators' work as like context within the Roblox ecosystem, how that affects like creator incentives and things like that, or if it, if you're kind of getting variations on other people's work within your own creator system. Wondering if there's thoughts on that.
I see. So you're basically, let me know if I understood correctly. You're asking if you're using Roblox content to feed, basically, to train
like
Gen
be the
AI,
seed
are we
for-
going to be stuck with the same content?
And also just in terms of like attribution within your own ecosystem to other creators and things.
Yeah, so I have to say, like, most of the tools that we are providing today, most of the training sets are actually outside Roblox. And the amount that you use to like fine-tune a model is really infinitesimal with respect to the amount of data that you use to train a model. So I think the only constraint is actually the word right now in terms of like what images and what code it can generate. I think code is a little bit more constrained because there's one specific language, but for like what I can see out there for images and 3D models is just a complete like wide open creative world.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.